Good morning students. So today we are going to discuss about few questions regarding the first chapter what we have seen till now. I am your biology teacher and you can reach me at these two places whichever is feasible to you. So let us move to the first question. We'll be discussing 11 questions today. So our first question of today's class is, what do you mean by the term reproduction and what are the different types of it? A very simple question. Let us discuss the answer first. So what is reproduction? It is a biological process in which new organisms are formed which look similar to their parents. It is a complex biological process and one of the most important processes to sustain the life on earth. What are the different types of it? They are generally of two different types. One is asexual reproduction, the second one is sexual reproduction. So this is the answer what you have to write, and this is the way what you have to write in your exam. I'm just giving you a sample way of writing your answers despite discussing the questions also. Let us move to question number 2. So what is question number 2? Give a brief note of asexual reproduction. So from the last two video sessions what we have discussed, if you haven't seen those videos, just go to those videos, see it first and then come back to this video. But what is this asexual reproduction? If you have studied the whole thing very well, I've given you an ample amount of time in order to see the videos, in order to read your books, and then we are discussing this one, so it should be clear to all of you. So what is asexual reproduction? First of all, it involves only one single parent. Second, it is a very simple process. Third, it is not involving any kind of gametes. Even if it involves, it is formed in the same organism. So these things, and asexual reproduction of different types like budding, fragmentation, binary fission and vegetative propagation. So these things what we have studied in our regular course. So this is the answer. Asexual reproduction is a process in which offsprings are produced from one single parent. I'm marking the main things, one single parent without the involvement of the gametes. Organisms having simple constitution. Different types are budding, fission, fragmentation, sporulation. Vegetative propagation is also a type of asexual reproduction found in hydra sponge, and these organisms, some of these organisms are capable of making spores which help them to handle the drastic weather conditions when the outer conditions are not supportive of life. Next is question number 3, binary fission, ancestration and sporulation. What is binary fission? The formation of two new cells from one single cell is known as binary fission, and this division is very rapid. You might be thinking that, sir, that this cell division, cell mitosis and binary fission are same. It's not the same. Why it is not the same? Cell division, mitosis takes a lot of time, whereas binary, it prepares the cell itself, whereas binary fission occurs very rapidly. Some organisms under unfavorable condition can convert their outer covering into a very hard covering, and that is known as cyst. This process of making the cyst is known as encystation. And when the conditions are favorable for suitable of life, then these cysts burst into generating spores, and this process of generating spores from the cyst is known as what? Sporulation. Next is question number 4 of today's class. What is it? What is juvenile and vegetative phase? It's very easy. When an organism becomes reproductively active, that stage is known as puberty. When an organism is becoming reproductively active, that stage is known as what? Puberty. The life before puberty from the birth is known as juvenile phase. The life after puberty is known as vegetative phase. Why it is called juvenile phase? Because the organism is incapable to reproduce. Why it is called vegetative phase? Because the organism becomes capable to reproduce. Clear? Let us move ahead. So this is what the answer looks like. Let us move on and see question number 5. What explains sexual reproduction? Very easy. If we know the preconcepts, first of all, it is found in complex organism, in higher organisms. Second, they involve the formation of gametes, they involve the fusion of the gametes. After the fusion of the gametes, a single cell, that is zygote, is formed. This zygote develops itself and develops into a human being or any kind of animal which undergoes the process of sexual reproduction. This total sexual reproduction is divided into 3 different stages: pre-fertilization event, fertilization and post-fertilization event. In pre-fertilization event, how gametes are formed we have seen, how gamete is transferred we have seen, And in the fertilization, we have seen that how two gametes fuse with each other. And in the post fertilization event, what is the thing? We have seen that how this zygote develops into an embryo. Clear? So this is what is the basic concept of sexual reproduction, what you have to keep in your mind, and then you have to write a simple answer regarding it. Marking one thing, don't make your answers too long. Try to make it as precise as possible, as informative as possible. Science students should have their answers informative rather being lengthy. Clear? Let us move ahead and see question number 6. Question number 6 says differentiate between asexual and sexual reproduction. If you know about sexual reproduction, if you know about asexual reproduction, it's very easy to answer this question. So I'm leaving this question up to you. You can see these answers and you can write it on your own. You can add your points also. Clear? Let us move to question number 7. Question number 7 says explain gametogenesis. So what is gametogenesis? What is the term? Gametogenesis. What is the term? Gameto and genesis. Gameto means gamete and genesis means to produce. So gametogenesis means basically it is a process in which gametes are produced. Is it clear? So it is a process of what? Formation of the gametes. What gametes? Male gamete and female gamete. Clear? These gametes are haploid in nature. What is the meaning of the term haploid? How many chromosomes do we have? 23 pairs. Never ever say 46. We have how many? 23 pairs. So 23 pairs, whenever we are discussing about pair, if you know some general mathematics, you can say that what is the definition of pair according to mathematics? 2n. 2n means it is a pair. Clear? So if we have 2n, that is known as diploid. If we have just n, that is known as what? Haploid. So gametes are what? Haploid. That means how many chromosomes are found in a single gamete? 23. How many chromosomes are found inside a normal cell? 23 pair. There is a difference. One contains 23 pair, that is 23 plus 23, and another contains only 23. Gametes contains only 23. Hence they are what? Haploid cells. Clear? If the two gametes are similar in arrangement, that is known as what? Homogametes. If they are dissimilar, they are heterogametes. In case of male, the gametes are known as what? Sperms. In case of females, the gametes are known as what? Ovum. In case of animals, in case of plants, it is what? It is pollen and ovule respectively. Clear? Let's move to question number 8. What is question number 8? Question number 8 says explain the process of gamete transfer in sexually reproducing organisms. Now this gamete transfer is one of the most important thing of sexual reproduction. Without the transfer of the gamete, the male gamete won't go to the female gamete and they won't fertilize, they won't form the zygote, they won't form the embryo, and no new organism will be formed. So gamete transfer is very much important. This gamete transfer can occur with the help of a medium. In case of external fertilization, where the fertilization is occurring outside the body, the medium is generally water. Whenever it is inside a human's body, then the medium is some kind of fluid. Now, this movement of the gametes is very much new thing. The male gametes are generally motile, the female gametes are non-motile in nature. The motile male gametes move towards the female gamete. Have you ever thought that why a male gamete moves towards a female gamete? Why doesn't it move somewhere else? We'll discuss about that thing later on, but for now, keep this one in mind. The male gamete is motile, the female gamete is non-motile, and it moves towards it and it fuses and it fertilizes. And this process is known as what? Gamete transfer. Next to question number 9. Question number 9 is asking that give an account on the process of fertilization of organisms. So fertilization is what? The fusion of the male and female gamete. It is also known as what? Syngamy. How many chromosomes are there in a gamete? N or 23. So 23 in male gamete, 23 in female gamete. When they fuse with each other, how much it becomes? 46? No, it becomes 23 pairs. 23 plus 23, that is 23 pairs. Clear? In some organisms like rotifers, honeybees, and all these organisms, they have a unique mechanism of fertilization of developing a new organism without fertilization. and this process is known as parthenogenesis. We think that fertilization is necessary, the male and the female gamete will fuse, they will fertilize and they will form a new organism. But in some organism, this fertilization is skipped directly and a new organism is formed, and this process is known as what? Parthenogenesis. The fertilization when occurs inside a body, that is known as internal fertilization. If it occurs outside the body, that is known as external fertilization. Clear? Next, move on to question number 10. What is question number 10? Explain the formation of zygote in organisms. So zygote, what is zygote? I've said the male gamete, the female gamete fuses with each other to form what? Zygote. In external fertilization, zygote is formed in the external medium, that is water. And in internal fertilization, the zygote is formed where? Inside the mother's body. All sexually reproducing organisms, whatever be the organism, it can be dog, cat, human being, elephant, dinosaur, anything. All sexually reproducing organisms starts their life from where? It starts their life from zygote. Mark this one. It starts their life from where? It starts their life from zygote. It is the link between the father's generation and the son's generation. Clear? In some organisms like algae and fungi, the zygote develops a very vital thick coat around it, obviously to do what? To protect itself from external harsh conditions. Lastly, finally, to question number 11, it asks that what do you mean by the term embryogenesis? Explain. So what is embryogenesis? The formation of embryo, obviously, is known as embryogenesis because embryogenesis, embryo formation. Now this zygote, it is a single cell. That single cell divides into multiple cells, and each of these multiple cells are defined with a single function. That okay, fine, cell number 1, you will go and synthesize the heart. Cell number 2, you will go and synthesize the nervous system. Cell number 3, you will go and synthesize the excretory system. Cell number 4, you will go and synthesize the respiratory system. Cell number 5, you will go and synthesize the digestive system. So basically a cell first divides, that is known as cell division, and then each of them are assigned with a single function, that is known as cell differentiation. These two processes occurs continuously, and hence a new embryo is formed which contains all these structures. Clear? But one thing you have to keep in mind, that how come a single cell is dividing into multiple cells, and who is indirectly directing or who is indirectly indicating that you have to do this one? Am I sitting here to tell those things? No. Are you sitting there to tell those cells that you will synthesize heart, you will synthesize brain, you will synthesize lungs, etc.? No. Then how come they are knowing these things? They are knowing these things using a system which is present inside the mother's body, and what we have studied in class 11, the last chapter of human physiology, that is endocrine system. I guess you have studied about the chemical messengers, hormones. These hormones play a significant role in the process of cell differentiation. Clear? So this sums up today's class. It contains 11 questions we have discussed. There are more questions to come. We'll discuss some time later. In the next video session, we'll move to chapter number 2. Till then, thank you all of you to go through this session. I hope you understood all the questions. If you have any questions regarding this, you can ask me in the above mentioned places. So in the meantime, stay safe and thank you.